This just in. It's 49ers Cutback Podcast. And welcome to a news update. We're going to talk a little bit about what Kyle Shanahan had to say at his presser today. A lot of new information revealed by Kyle Shanahan, some injury updates as we got our first look at the injury report. 49ers preparing for their game on Monday night versus the New York Jets. So thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And let's go ahead and start getting into this a little bit. And it starts with some of the injury reports and the information coming out about several key players. And let's start with Christian McCaffrey because that's the one that's been on people's mind. And Christian McCaffrey's been dealing with an ankle. We've known that. He's missed a lot of training camp. He missed the entire preseason. And Kyle Shanahan said that they were being very careful to make sure that Christian McCaffrey did not suffer a more serious injury. And now we know why. When they listed him with the injury designation, it's listed as calf and Achilles. So the Kyle Shanahan stated that the Achilles was always a part of the diagnosis, and anyone that's had a calf injury knows the Achilles goes along with it. It's something that is definitely sore, and it can be a problem. So McCaffrey's been nursing and taking it easy, trying to get himself back in order when it comes to the calf and Achilles. Christian McCaffrey is listed as limited right now. He was limited in practice. And so we'll see how he develops during the week. I expect him to stay limited probably during the week and then be ready to go when it comes to the Monday night matchup. Now, a couple guys who we've been waiting on reports from to see if they're going to be capable and ready to play this week is number one, Yetur Gross-Matos. Gross-Matos, of course, injured in the final preseason game for the 49ers. He suffered an MCL sprain, and so did Leonard Floyd. But Floyd was day-to-day, and we knew he was probably going to be back sooner than later. He's been back for a while, but Gross-Matos has yet to practice. He was dealing with a more significant MCL sprain, and it's looking less and less likely like Gross-Matos is going to be available and ready to go on Monday night versus the Jets. So with Gross-Matos out of the lineup, the 49ers are going to have to decide which player from the practice squad to elevate. Now, the all likelihood, it seems like it would be Sam Okawanu. Okawanu made the initial 53-man roster for the 49ers before they waived him the second day after they brought back other players. They brought back some key veterans that they had released, and bringing them back, they had to wait and get Sam Okawanu through waivers. Now, it makes a lot of sense to wait. Every team goes ahead and claims players on that initial wave, and having Okawanu not a part of that meant the 49ers had a better chance to get him to their practice squad, which they did. And they have 3 defensive ends on the practice squad. And part of the reason they do is because Gross-Matos' injury made it a little bit more difficult. So I expect them to elevate Sam Okawanu. Of course, it could be Alex Barrett. You never know. But I just think that's the most likely. And he'll be a part of that second unit with Robert Beal Jr. So bad news when it comes to Yetur Gross-Matos. We're going to have to wait, a week or two. We'll see. 49ers obviously didn't put him on the IR, so they feel he's going to be back sooner than later. That's good news. D. Winters continues to not practice, and he got hurt in that final preseason game as well. He injured his ankle, so he's all but out of this one as well. I think it's unlikely now that we'll see D. Winters, which means the 49ers' decision comes down to DFF and Curtis Robinson for that Sam linebacker spot. Of course, according to the unofficial depth chart out by the media of the 49ers, it is DFF who's going to start at Sam linebacker, which could be a little bit of a problem when it comes to depth for the 49ers. And as far as a starter, not exactly the best when it comes to stopping the run. So D. Winters' injury significant. It presents a different lineup than maybe the 49ers wanted to go with. They got Devondre Campbell. They got Fred Warner. They're stout. They're 2 all-pro caliber players. But that third linebacker is a question mark. Robinson had the best training camp, the best preseason between the 2 veterans of him and Flanagan Fowles. But Flanagan Fowles has had the favor of the coaching staff, and Coach Johnny Hollins is going to be the one that makes the decision on this. So D. Winters out, which means Flanagan Fowles likely in. Aaron Banks was limited at practice. He has been returning from the broken pinky that he had surgery on, but we know that he is likely to play according to Kyle Shanahan. So good news that you're going to have Aaron Banks starting because you're going to need him. Quinnen Williams is going to be waiting. Javon Kinlaw and Solomon Thomas are going to be waiting. So those are going to be fun matchups, but we're going to have him. Wide receiver Jawan Jennings listed as limited, and Jawan Jennings has come back from the oblique. And it didn't look good last week. He didn't practice, but now it's starting to look like it's going in the right direction. And Jawan Jennings will be ready to go Monday night against the New York Jets. Good news for the 49ers, hitting full strength or as full as you can be at wide receiver. That's really good. Running back Isaac Guerendo returned to practice. He tweaked a groin the Monday before cut day. That was a bad day for injuries. Isaac Guerendo tweaked the groin. Elijah Mitchell re-injured the hamstring. Elijah Mitchell out for the year. But Guerendo's trending in the right direction. The fact that he was working on a side field Tuesday and now returned to practice means he has a chance to play on Monday. So that's good news for the 49ers. Then the 49ers just have to decide which players they want active, because with them having to elevate players off the practice squad that are likely to play, inactives are going to come from the depth pieces of your roster, whether that's your sixth wide receiver or that's a fourth running back. So we'll see. If Guerendo figures into the return duties for the 49ers, he might be active over Patrick Taylor Jr. But if they want to count on Patrick Taylor Jr. as far as special teams, because he does more kickoff and kickoff return, then potentially they go there. So that one's going to be kind of a toss-up, but it's a good move that Guerendo is trending in the right direction and potentially could be ready in case the 49ers need him. You got McCaffrey nursing an injury. You've got, the potential of Guerendo as well. So maybe the 49ers go 4 running backs just to ensure they have enough backs in case something, heaven forbid, happens to Christian McCaffrey. But luckily, you got Jordan Mason, and that guy is an absolute beast. Talanoa Hufanga. Hufanga is questionable still with the knee. Kyle Shanahan said he has a chance for Monday, but we do know that Adam Schefter's original tweet about the 49ers signing Tracy Walker to the practice squad was he expected to be active game 1 to go against the Jets. So the likelihood is Talanoa Hufanga won't play, but we don't want to count that out. We want to leave that door open, and hopefully Hufanga is capable of playing. Boy, would that be a huge boost. Hufanga, Jair Brown as safety. Now we know if Hufanga's not ready to go, it'll be George Odom. Tracy Walker will be elevated. He'll help on special teams, and they'll have him and Malik Mustafa as the backup to Jair and George Odom. So not all the way healthy yet for the 49ers. Hufanga still working his way back. Drake Greenlaw won't be back for a little while. But for the most part, it's not that bad when you're talking about injuries. The most significant injuries right now to the 49ers on guys who were looking to come back are D. Winters and Gross Matos. So 49ers definitely have the injury bug that they're getting over. But then Kyle Shanahan was also asked about Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk and their playing time in the game. And one thing that I found interesting was that he talked about Brandon Ayuk normally plays 98%, or he was actually asked by one of the reporters, Brandon Ayuk plays 98% of the snaps normally. Well, what do you think? Do you think he'll play 98% of the snaps? Shanahan said he doesn't expect him to play 98% of the snaps, and why would he? I mean, there's just no way he can be, that healthy, right away and get in there. So I thought that was interesting, an interesting development. And when it comes to Trent Williams, right now, Trent Williams is still a roster exemption, so he can practice without counting against the roster. So if you're wondering why the 49ers haven't made a corresponding move, that's why Trent Williams is exempt from the roster right now. But if he is able to play, which it sure seems like he's trending to be able to play, they will have to release someone to create a roster spot. But they can make that move all the way on Monday. So they can carry someone all the way on Monday through the games of the rest of the week. So those are good things for the 49ers. So Trent Williams will get activated potentially at some point, Sunday, Monday. They'll make a decision there, and then they'll have to make a corresponding move. We'll see. They just signed Brandon Parker last week. Maybe they go ahead and move on from Brandon Parker. We'll see what happens there. I think with some of the things that have happened in other positions, that might be the most likely. The 49ers also named their team captains, and they went with 8 this year. So 8 captains for the San Francisco 49ers. You got Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, and Trent Williams. And it's a nice mixture of veterans, and then you got the young guy in Brock Purdy. but I think everyone can agree that these are the leaders on the football team. I think some guys that you probably look at these captains and say, hey, maybe there's a couple of guys that you could see figure into this. I think someone like Charvarius Ward that John Chapman brought up on our show. Yeah, Charvarius Ward, being a part of the captains. I think Caldo Hufong is also a guy that displays those captain-like abilities. But you can only pick so many. The 49ers maximum number they could have is 9, and they end up having 8. So 49ers captains Bosa, Warner, Juszczyk, Kittle, McCaffrey, Purdy, Samuel, and Trent Williams. Pretty good group. One more revelation that came from the Kyle Shanahan presser was they have decided on who's going to be quarterback 2. So quarterback 2 for the San Francisco 49ers is going to be Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen is going to be the first guy in. If something happens to Brock, he's going to step in. He's going to get those reps. Josh Dobbs right now is quarterback 3, but that doesn't mean this won't change. At some point, it could. But right now, Kyle Shanahan feels more comfortable with Brandon Allen. I think it's a surprise to a lot of people that saw how well Josh Dobbs played during the preseason. But Kyle Shanahan and Brian Greasy have to make decisions that they feel is best for the 49ers offense and the football team. But I think we can all sit here and comfortably say, I hope we never see Brandon Allen or Josh Dobbs in a game unless the 49ers are blowing someone out. Those are the only times we want to see them. That and Week 18 when they're playing in place of Brock Purdy because the 49ers have the number 1 seed wrapped up and they're ready to have a rest week and prepare for the playoffs. Those are the only times we want to see them. But the good news is both backup quarterbacks did really good during the preseason, and we're excited to see what they can do if they have to step in there in place of Brock Purdy. But I think Brock's got a good chance of staying healthy, and I'm excited about it. So 49ers trending in the right direction injury-wise. Some guys were missing. It's giving clarity on who's going to start. Of course, pay attention to the channel. All week I'll be giving out more information, including who's going to start and who's not in the days coming. Also, game preview show coming out on Saturday. I hope you guys will check that out. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, stay safe. And remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.